What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Top P. We're back here once again. You already know what it is. When you see me in front of your TV, one thing is for certain and three things are for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. And number three, and perhaps the most important number of them all, number three, we want to make sure you keep your Alliance news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very simple. I'm glad you asked, and I will tell you right now. Smash like button, subscribe, share. That is the way that you do it. And once you've done it in any order in which you've done it in, whatever you like, you can have whatever you like. That is your preference. But you have indeed kept your Lions news pragmatic. And since sharing is indeed caring, when you share this stream with your mothers, your cousins, your uncles, your sisters, your brothers, your mothers, your brothers, your sisters, your uncles, your cousins, you name it, you name it, you have indeed cared about these people. You guys already know what it is. I'm laughing because I got to the show before I even started the show. I had all types of messages from Frank the Tank, and he's about 15 messages in there, and I'm not going to read them. So what I've done, Frank the Tank, will probably address whatever your concerns are. I think you might have had a little bit, what I'm saying, a little sip or two or something like that. We're going to address whatever your concerns are as we get through this show. And today, unfortunately, is not just another Victory Monday. Just another Victory Monday. It's not that. Not today. Today is a day of grieving. Today is a day of loss. Today is a day to say, you got to change your ways. I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. Oh, yeah. Because we got to do that. We've got to do some soul searching. We've got to look in the mirror, and we have got to fix the problems. And I know that y'all know what the problems are. So let's go ahead and get right into it. A brief recap of the situation that is at hand. The Detroit Lions came off of a bye, slept in their beds, got real comfortable, got good sleep. Hung around the hood, hung around the house. Didn't have to go nowhere. Didn't have to stay in no hotels. Didn't have to do none of that. Didn't have to do no travel. Didn't have to get on no planes, no buses, nothing. They just went to the stadium. Now, I don't know if you just go straight to the stadium from the house, or maybe you meet up somewhere and go to the stadium, but I feel like they just went straight to the stadium from the house. Players parking and pulled up in there and did what they needed to do, got their clothes out their own closet, brushed their teeth in their own sinks at home in the bathroom. All that stuff. They did all that stuff, had all the comforts and amenities of home. And then they allowed the Minnesota Vikings to come into their trap, take over their trap. The Minnesota Vikings of all teams. You see, when they started throwing around the whole situation, okay? What's that? When they started throwing around the whole situation, we're talking about, the Lions have never beat the Minnesota Vikings 6 times in a row before, and this is the time that it's going to happen. What up, though, Jody Carruthers? And this and that and the third thing. And, whenever they start quoting historical stuff, I get nervous. I get nervous because this team historically, we've had some struggles historically. So when you start calling on history, when you start evoking the ancestors, you know what I'm talking about, I get a little bit nervous. I was nervous for 2 reasons. I was nervous because of that 6-game streak that was on the line. I was nervous slightly. I'm not even going to say nervous. That's the wrong word to use. I was a bit, I had got some pause. Why? Carson Wentz, I spent 4 weeks talking about how trash he was, how awful he was, how he looked like Uncle Rico, how he was just bad at football. And then they had somebody waiting in the wings named J.J. McCarthy. No, J.J. McCarthy's a winner. J.J. McCarthy don't lose in the state of Michigan. I heard all that before. But that's not why I had some pause. I had some pause simply because they had benched him before. They took him out and said, look, man, you need to go sit down somewhere. You need to take that to your time. We'll call back on you when you're ready. Go over there and do some meditation. Go over there, take some medication. Go over there and do whatever you need to do. Go sit under the goalpost and call on your ancestors, your forefathers. Okay? Hashtag if you know, use the hashtag. Go over there and do all that stuff that you need to do to get yourself right. Because when we put you back in down the stretch run, we want to make sure that mentally you're okay to handle the NFL. And I didn't feel like, oh, he was going to be mentally okay and he was just going to come out and he was going to be too much for us. No. It's the new quarterback bump. I felt with just a little bit of pause that he was going to come out and he was going to give him some energy, which is why I thought the game will probably be closer than a lot of people thought it would be. And it was much closer than a lot of people thought it would be. It was a 3-point game, just not closer in favor of the Detroit Lions. So I was nervous about the streak, and I was given some pause about the new quarterback bump. If your head coach is terrible and you fire your head coach, the interim coach gives you interim coach bump. If your quarterback is terrible and you put in the backup is going to give you new quarterback bump. You get a bump in energy. And some people often, especially with the coaches, they ride that wave into a victory. It may not be a winning streak, but at least the victory right after the head coach, who was terrible and who had lost the locker room, comes in there and he's going to get a win. It happens all the time. New quarterback comes in not because your quarterback got hurt, no, because your quarterback sucks. New quarterback comes in, whether he's a lowly backup, whether you sign someone off the scrap heap, the practice squad, sitting on their couch, whatever the case may be, like Joe Flacco a couple years ago was sitting on his couch. That player will give you a bump in energy. Cool. That's not why the Detroit Lions lost to the Minnesota Vikings. There wasn't a bump of energy in the world that was going to cause the Minnesota Vikings to beat the Detroit Lions. The Minnesota Vikings have talent. They're not devoid of talent, but they haven't been able to put it together all year. Brian Flores actually blitzed more this game than I've seen him blitz the entire year. Because maybe he was playing coy. I did say this last week, a couple weeks ago. I did say that what he was doing with his defense was to beat Jared Goff. What I didn't realize is that he was just laying in wait, playing coy, not applying as much pressure, making us believe, not us, and we're going to get to it, but making those powers that be believe that we were going to have an easier time because he wasn't going to bring the blitz that much. He was going to try to play coverage. He was going to try to do some other things to beat the Detroit Lions. And somebody fell for it. Somebody fell for it. Before I get to that, I'm going to tell you who fell for it. Frank Tech, I can't read your novel, man. I can't, I can't read your novel, man. What up, the sugar? He says, not liking what Dan said. I'm sorry, but this doesn't scream a Super Bowl year to me. About the adjustments. All right. So we're gonna get into it. Frank, you got too many comments, man. I can't. That doesn't hijack the show. I can't read all that. This is like that's like a whole 2 articles. You don't wrote a dissertation, my guy. Who fell for it was Johnny mother freaking Mo. Johnny mother freaking Mo. Do you fire him? Do you replace him? Do you take away his play calling duties? JJ McCarthy came out there and he had 143 yards passing. He had 12 yards rushing. JJ McCarthy produced 155 yards of offense. We sacked JJ McCarthy 5 times. If I told you just those 2 things alone, and he threw a pick. If I told you that JJ McCarthy was sacked 5 times, he produced entirely 155 yards of offense as a quarterback who is supposedly mobile and can use his legs, right? The entire game, he played the entire game. He produced 155 yards of offense total, arm and legs. He threw 2 interceptions and 1 pick, and he was sacked 5 times. What's the score of that game? What is the score of that game if I told you that? A lot to a little, right? In favor of the Detroit Lions. And that's what everyone expected. When you come out there, and you had 2 weeks to prepare. And this is why I started off with the whole bye week, and they were in the comfort of their own homes, and so on and so forth. You were so ill prepared for what Brian Flores was doing on defense. If only we had tape. If only we had film. If only we had some knowledge of what Brian Flores' defense was going to do, we could have prepared better, is what Johnny Morton is thinking. Because apparently Johnny Morton doesn't know that there are tons of hours of tape of us playing the Minnesota Vikings with Brian Flores as the defensive coordinator. Johnny Morton, someone said yesterday, he's old school. I think Johnny Morton doesn't know how to do things. I had a situation. I was in a high school game, and we kept running the same play, and it was me up the middle for 5 yards, for 10 yards, for 4 yards, for 8 yards, for 7 yards. And my coach came and told me when I came off the field, hey, if they can't stop it, we're just going to keep doing it. And you keep sending blitzes up the middle, Brian Flores, because we can't stop it. So why would you not continue to do it? Jared Goff was pressured on what, 55% of his dropbacks? That's a super high pressure rate. Ravens traded for a DE. We're going to get to all that, right? This is the trade deadline. Don't forget. The next time I have a show with you guys, yeah, the trade deadline will have passed. Okay. Johnny Mo failed this team tremendously. And I have to beat the dead horse because as the ball seer, I seen this. I seen it when everyone was fawning over the offense, talking about how we scored 30 points per game. I asked you guys a simple question. Does it look like a 30-point per game offense? I told you how difficult it looked to get yards. I told you how difficult it looked on third down. I told you all of these things. And I'm listening to some shows today and watching some videos, and people are saying things like, oh, it looks so hard to get yards. People were coming off of their perches about 30-point per game offenses, high power offenses. Johnny Morton did not make any adjustments to what Brian Flores was doing. Johnny Morton has a game plan, and when that game plan doesn't work, he doesn't know what to do. See, he came in here talking all of that noise, right? He came in here talking. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be in the lab. You know, I love getting to the lab at 2 o'clock in the morning and sitting there until 2 o'clock in the morning, and then going home and sleeping for 2 minutes and coming back to the lab and sitting there for another 24 hours. Oh, I love to tinker with the offense. I love to self-scout. I love to do this. I love to do that. I love to do the third thing. Oh, I'm going to dictate to these defenses what they can do. They're not going to dictate to us. We're going to give them a heavy dose of downfield JMO. Oh, we're going to do everything we can, brother, and everything we're not supposed to do, brother. And we're going to rock and we're going to roll. And what you going to do when Lions of Mania offense comes for you, brother? Two running backs, 65 yards of rushing on 20 carries. Guys, I told you this. I told you this. What up, though, Tactical Sport? I'm gonna get to comments. But I got to rant a little bit. I told people that if you looked at the game plan for Tampa Bay, now because we didn't make mistakes elsewhere, the Lions this game it wasn't just the offense, but we made mistakes in every critical moment, and all the mistakes were critical. And Dan Campbell said the same thing. But Johnny Moe is the most glaring person because on drive number 2, do y'all remember, if y'all were here with me watching the game, on drive number 2, there was a 3rd and 15, and this guy pulls out a wide receiver screen to the boundary for Jameson Williams, where he subsequently lost 2 yards, and we punted on 4th and 17. Y'all remember me getting up and leaving the computer after I sat there for about 30 seconds and didn't say anything. Yes, I did go to get some coffee, but I was going to lose my mind if I sat there and spoke. It was going to be such an epic crash out. But I felt like it was too early in the game for me to crash out that way. It was only the second drive. You got to give it some time, right? This is game number 8. So while it was only the second drive of game number 8, why does this man screen? And I can understand, look, one of the ways to beat a blitzing defense is to throw screens, right? One of the ways to beat a blitzing defense is to throw screens. You let them all wash up field, and then you hit them on the backside, pause. And you got it well blocked, and you're going for 30, going for 40, you're going for 50, 60, 70, 80 yards. Because that's how screens work. If you block them well and you call them properly, screens are a fantastic a fantastic weapon to have in your arsenal as an offensive coordinator. The problem with Johnny Mo's screens is they suck ass. They're not blocked well. They're not called in optimal situations. Down and distance. He has no idea what to do. He just throws screens. Third and 15. Why the frick are you throwing a damn smoke screen behind the line of scrimmage on 3rd and 15? What do you hope to accomplish? What did you hope to accomplish? Let me be the offensive coordinator, bro. At least we'll have some sort of innovation. My God, what are you doing? And I've been saying it, bro. Y'all, shout out to Jody Carruthers. Shout out to Tactical. Shout out to everybody that comes in every Sunday or Monday or Thursday, whenever the games are played. And you've seen me every time one of those dumbass screens get called. It pisses me off. They don't work. They've never worked. They haven't worked for the entire season. Why do you keep doing it? I feel like I'm talking to one of my kids, bro. Why are you doing this? If it doesn't work, stop doing it. It's not rocket science, man. I gave Johnny Mo grace. I gave Johnny Mo time. That man has to go, bro. Fix it. All we heard about in week number 2, after the debacle in Green Bay, oh, we're going to fix it. We're in the fix it business as coaches. That's what Johnny Morton said. And to their credit, they played a team, not even to their credit. I can't even give it credit. The Bears were a team that was still developing. Now the Bears have the same record as the Detroit Lions, as crazy as that sounds. You were 52 points better than the Bears that day. But our offenses are going in different directions. I'm going to do something. And this is the only time that you're going to hear me say this. So you might as well clip it. Because after I say this, it's back to Osama bin Johnson. Ben Johnson. I said his name without Osama. Ben Johnson runs laps around Johnny Mo as an offensive coordinator, as a play caller, as an offensive mind, as someone who understands the game of football. He is much more innovative. He is much more creative. He's a much better coach than Johnny freaking Mo. I gave him his flowers. Now he was who we thought he was. And if you want to crown him, then go ahead and crown his ass. But we let him off the hook. Let me get to your comments before I bleed more before I crash out. Okay, because there's a lot of crash now. Yet that's left. Week 18 is going to be a big game against Chicago, and do not get mad. Detroit Lions lose against Washington and Philadelphia. They will still make the playoffs. See, why would they lose against Washington? Jaden Daniels is done for the season. He's not playing. And even before, you got to watch the games, right? You tell me this all the time. You got to watch the game. The Washington Commanders are 3-6 or 3-5. They're not a good football team. They weren't a good football team last year. They were getting lucky. And they showed you they weren't good when they got to the NFC Championship game, completely outclassed and overmatched and looked like they didn't belong on the same football field as the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles and NFL Afters, I believe it is. We'll talk about it later. But y'all might see me on the show. You might see me. The week of the Eagles, I'm going to try to finagle a guest. He's an Australian fellow who went to college at the University of Alabama, been all up and down through the States. I met him yesterday. So I'm gonna try to get him on the show. I don't know when I'll get on his show, but yeah, definitely want to get him on here the week of the Eagles so we can have some perspective because he's an Eagles fan. But anyway, no reason we should lose to the Commanders at all, especially after last night. You saw the Seattle Seahawks go into their trap and completely take over their trap. At one point, 2 minutes before the halftime, it was 28-0. Washington Commanders scored 0 points while giving up 28. They finally wound up before the half scoring 7 points. And then in the second half, they scored an additional 7. They scored 14 points the entire game at home, while the Seattle Seahawks scored 38 away on the road. Okay? So, no. I will crash out if we lose to the freaking Washington Commanders. I'm telling you that right now. Because that is an inferior team, just like the Minnesota Vikings were an inferior team. Hold on. No, Mike. All right. Does anyone really think Brad is going to get anyone? I don't see it happening. I mean, bro, the only thing I can say about the trade deadline is that year number one is the only year that he didn't make a trade. So, I mean, if he gets somebody, just hopefully it's somebody we know. That's all I'm gonna say. Somebody who we know can make a difference, not a guy whose name is Tyrus Wheat or Tyus Lacey, and then they try to, oh, these are good players. Ray Agnew said, I'm glad we got these players because they're good players. There's some good guys. You know what I'm talking about. They're gonna help. They're gonna help. You're gonna see a long time. It's gonna take a long time for them to help and do anything, but you know they're gonna help. They're gonna do what they need to do, and they're gonna do what we brought them in here. So we're really excited to get those guys. Those guys, man, consummate professionals. Those guys are the guys. No, I don't want none of that. Give me somebody who can freaking produce as a starter. Thank you. There's some offensive line options from the Commanders because after the injury to Jaden Daniels, the Commanders have announced that they are sellers and there are offensive linemen that they are looking to move. One name that came up is Wiley. He's a Michigan guy. He's 6'6", 310. He can play both guard spots and right tackle. Can I interest you in that? Because we're going to talk about some other stuff a little bit later. Okay? This offensive line needs the help. Tactical Spark says Melvin has already told you that he's not going to get anyone. The problem with getting someone is he would have to admit that the fans aren't dumb. His ego won't allow him to do that. Well, here's the thing about ego. You know what? I think I'm going to give Brad more credit than this. You start thinking that you're the main attraction. Ancasa. Okay? You start thinking you're Ancasa, then you turn into a man named Bob Quinn. And guess what happened to Bob Quinn? Because Bob Quinn couldn't see past his own ego. He was out the door in 3 years. So if Brad Holmes gets into that situation and ain't won nothing, and the immortal words of DMX, pop him in his right eye. Tell that bye-bye. You know what I'm saying? That's what's gonna happen. Bye-bye. If he does not get someone, it won't be if he does get someone, it won't be a defensive end and it won't be anyone of any significance. If it's not a defensive end at this point, I'm okay with that because our offensive line, we need help. Got holes, sprung a leak. John Morton is horrible, but I'm looking at Dan Campbell sideways for hiring him in the first place. True. Even if it were true, Johnny Moe has 50% of the offense. It's not true. His passing scheme sucks. Bro, he was the passing game coordinator in Denver, and Bo Nix was good, and he was the offensive coordinator for Josh or Luke McCown or Josh, whichever one, and he had a career year. What the frick is going on now? What I like you can't you he can't adjust to anything. It's pissing me off. Like, bro, we know as fans of the Detroit Lions that putting pressure in Jared Goff's lap is disastrous. And Johnny Mo had no plan to prevent it. And even worse, he sat there like a deer in the headlights when it was happening and did nothing about it. Absolutely nothing. In the immortal words of Smokey, not a damn thing. He didn't do jack about it. What are we doing here? You get paid? You get paid for this. You get paid to do nothing. You get paid to not make any adjustments. I'm over it, bro. Johnny Mo, I see this, and this is the thing that was pissing me off about all of the numbers people, all the stat guys who wanted to look me in my eye and tell me that we were 30.7 points per game. I don't give a good goddamn because it don't look like you're doing any of that. Because it looks difficult to score 30 points. You backing into 30 points. You not walking into the room of 30 points with your chest out and talking loud and confident. You are meek and crawling into that mud. Yeah, we made it. Ooh, we in the 30-point room. I tell you, we had to go through some lions, some tigers, some bears. Oh my, it was traps out there. Oh, goodness gracious. I almost stepped into a bear trap. Yo, boy, I tell you what. Ooh, somebody give me some iced tea. I'm swear, boy. Ooh. And I'm looking around the league and I'm watching other offenses make it look easy. Jonathan Taylor is your number one guy. Now, Jonathan Taylor and the Indianapolis Colts didn't do anything this week. They got smacked. Okay, it happens every now and again. How many times have I questioned the offense? I told you guys not last week, but last game. I told you running the ball into the gut of Vita Vea was the dumbest game plan I've ever seen. Who told you that was a good idea? I said, I don't do this, but just for context, I will take away Jahmyr Gibbs' 78-yard run, and he had 3.6 yards per carry. David Montgomery had 1.8 yard per carry. This week, Jahmyr Gibbs had 25 yards rushing. Jahmyr Gibbs, who does nothing but snatch the ankles of Minnesota Vikings. He's got a collection of ankles, and most of them belong to the Minnesota Vikings. Ask him to go to his house, ask him to go to his basement and see his trophy case. It's going to be a bunch of ankles belonging to the Minnesota Vikings. And you allowed them to neutralize that man to the point where he had his worst game as an NFL player. Are you effing kidding me? Are you kidding me? And then people talking about, well, I'm not ready yet. Man, fire this MF, bro. I'm about to cut, boy. Y'all about to take me out my character, bro. I'm telling you. Sad Lions fans will never give any share of the blame ever. Dude is a statue, can't sense pressure ever, and Melvin paid him. We're talking about Goff, right? We see. I can acknowledge that Goff is not as mobile as anyone else. I'm not going to tell you he doesn't feel pressure. I mean, the man he got sacked 5 times, but he got out of 5 more himself. But what I am going to tell you is you knew that. You got kids, right? Your kid can't spell, and you put that little kid in a freaking spelling bee. Bruh, you knew he couldn't spell. You knew little Johnny couldn't spell. So why are you trying to put him in a situation where he can be embarrassed? He can't spell. I'm gonna put my little angel in the spelling bee. He can't spell, bro. Why would you do that? So when you know Brian Flores is bringing pressure up the middle, my guy, do something that, bro. The route concepts. This man, it's like he doesn't understand. You don't have the time to be running routes where it takes a wide receiver 3-4 seconds to get into it when you have 2.4 seconds to throw. That doesn't make sense. I'm getting into my route at 3 seconds. You threw the ball 0.6 seconds ago. How does that make sense? How do you have an offensive coordinator that doesn't have concepts that cover the entire field? How can you not beat blitzes? Bro, you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta, Khalif Raymond, Isaac Tesla. That's 5 people you can put in the pattern. You've got Jahmyr Gibbs. That's another person you can put in a pattern. Spread them out. You're helping them by condensing your line of scrimmage. Spread them out. It also allows your quarterback to make faster reads because he can identify a spread offense. He can identify what wide receivers are open and when. Slot 1, slot 2. One of them is going to be open. If you're bringing 6 people and they got 5 out in the pattern, you can't do that anymore. You have to stop doing that. This is what's called dictating to a defense. They've got too many people in the pattern, boss. We can't cover them all. And since they're running very quick routes, we can't get to the quarterback. So what we're doing is ineffective. We have to change. And then when they change, then you can go back to your regular game plan because you have dictated to the defense that this is not going to be your day. You are not doing whatever the hell you want to do because that's what we do in Detroit. And that's the type of energy that Johnny Morton came in here with, and he has not made good on it at all. So if you are out there and you're not ready to blame Johnny Morton, shame on you. Shame on you. This man is freaking predictable, bro. We know what he's going to do. And it's going to be dumb. They ain't seen a running game like ours. What? Running is simple. Run the ball up the middle 15 times. It is simple. It is not imaginative. I mean, I told y'all a couple weeks ago, I said the dude gets into pissing matches. He got into a pissing match with Jim Schwartz, and I said that was a little bit warranted because just Jim Schwartz is kind of a douche. He got into a pissing match with Vita Vea. What are you doing? I've been asking you for counters. I've been asking you for traps. I've been asking you for counter traps. I've been asking you to. Aaron Jones lit our defense up every time he ran a freaking counter trap for damn near 10 yards a carry. He had 8.7 yards per carry when he left the game due to injury. right in the middle of the line. Counter track. Bam, jab step, back the other way. Easy, simple. Had our line parting like the Red Sea. If you're not angry today about what you saw from Johnny Moore, listen, you can talk about Goff. You can talk about Dan Campbell for hiring this man. But the fact of the matter is, this is the dude that has the keys to your offense right now. I don't want to hear a damn thing next week when we are supposed to blow out the Washington Commanders. I want everybody, if you didn't watch the game last night, go watch the game. Go watch the Commanders defense and see if it doesn't look better against our offense. And tell me I'm crazy. Go watch the Commanders defense get absolutely obliterated last night and tell me that it doesn't look better against our offense. It better not. The Detroit Lions better make it look as simple as the friggin' Seahawks made it look. We're playing Marcus Mariota. We're playing a team that has entered a fire sale because their star quarterback is out for the rest of the season with a dislocated elbow. We're playing a team that has literally waved the white flag. They've given up. If you beat them by some silly ass score like 24-21, I'm not going to sit up here and talk about a win is a win at that point. Get the frick out of my face with that bull crap. If your offense looks inept against that defense next week in Washington, I don't give a damn about it being a road game. I don't care about none of that stuff that y'all got to say. Don't talk to me about that bull crap. If this offense doesn't look worlds better, if this offense don't put up 50, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear Johnny Moe's not the problem. I don't want to hear it. Let's say we false start 3 times on the same freaking play, like, because we got the capability of shooting ourselves in the foot with all these damn flags that we had yesterday. So if we get back and it's 3rd and 15 and this MF throw another one of them screens, bro, I don't want to hear nothing y'all got to say. Because it will be clear at that point that he doesn't have the ability to call offensive games in the NFL. And it will be clear at this point that it wasn't the Jets jetting, and that's why he got fired. He got fired because he's a trash offensive coordinator. That will be clear. And y'all can keep y'all numbers to yourselves at that point. All right, I said I'm going to get to y'all comments. I'm going to get to them. I know, I'm ranting. I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off today. This is not the day. Melvin spent picks on guys like Vaki, Tesla, etc., instead of linemen. Facts. This is why I crashed out when we did with the Tesla pick. The player is the player, great, and we're not even using him. We're not using him. He has 6 targets. He has 6 targets, and we have a lineman with a broken ankle or something broken in his leg. And the trade deadline is tomorrow, and we need reinforcements, and we ain't got no 3rd-round picks left. I'm just saying. With the blitzes and pressure, Lions should have ran misdirections and took it to him. It's not that difficult to beat a blitz, bro. It's not. You know, teams, when AG was here and all we did was blitz, teams was beating our blitzes left and right. Teams was beating our blitzes left and right. We got tons of tape on Brian Flores and his blitzes. It's not a secret anymore. This is why, to this point, they had only won 3 games. Yeah, I know Carson Wentz was their quarterback. but they weren't getting home against everybody. They weren't getting 5 sacks a week against all the other quarterbacks. I bet any amount of money how you going to prove that Ben or Johnny only has 50% of the offensive scheme, only giving the OC 50% of the offense just leads to another point of failure. Who said he only had 50% of the offense? Are you talking about the players available? Don't need to watch something from 3 years ago. Yeah, the current product of the field sucks. This is a response to something that I was ranting on. I wouldn't mind seeing Melvin get traded for Howie. You don't get any argument from me. I'm telling you. LOL, just not someone named Wheat. Oh, I'm way back here. I went off. My bad. Call me crazy. Sing off to New York. Let's ride. Just LOL. Yeah, okay. If you said to New York, I mean, if you said the Giants for Dart, I mean, that makes it Justin Fields. Give me a break. Could have had an H back and an RB for blocking the use some forward shuttle pass, but no. Goff, the kind of guy who is so bad at sensing the room, he would never know if his wife was cheating on him. Dude, be clueless. Let's hope that that's not happening. What up, though, Zach J? There were no visible adjustments. None. None at all. I didn't hear people lose their mind when AG couldn't coach a defense for 4 years, especially DBs, which he played personally. LOL. I think fans should relax. No, so here's the thing. A lot of people were losing their minds, but this is what I was doing. I was looking at the fact that we had no one here. Okay? AG was here from the beginning of this rebuild. For the first 3 years, he didn't have a damn body to coach defense with. We were trash on defense, right? But then that second year, when we were 9-8, he simplified the defense and it worked down the stretch. And we were 8-2 down the stretch. And then the next year we went to the NFC Championship game. And it wasn't all AG's fault or the defense's fault as to why we lost that game. And then last year, everybody died. Everybody got injured. So there were some excuses for AG. AG was stubborn. AG didn't use a spot. And those are not good traits. The difference is Johnny Morton came in with his stacked deck. Johnny Morton, to borrow a term from Jim Harbaugh, Johnny Morton was born on third base. This MF can't even make it home. He was born on third base. I was born in the darkness. You merely adopted it. Okay? He had weapon after weapon after weapon and can't use anybody. All we talked about was third downs over the process of 2 weeks. Oh, the bye week, man, I went back and I looked at them third downs. What did you accomplish? We were 5 for 17 on third down. What did you fix? 3rd and 15. I know. I'll throw another freaking smoke screen. What? Special teams had their worst game in years. Again, fans like to dump on one guy. Oh, I am not dismissing. I'm not dismissing any of the other things that went on. I told you it wasn't just the offense. I'm dumping on him because I'm frustrated watching the same stupid crap all the time. See, winning masks things. But I wasn't falling for it. I wasn't around here talking about, 30.7 points a game. I wasn't doing that because I understand the law of averages. We scored 13 points in game number 1, 52 points in game number 2, 65 points over the first 2 games. That's 32.5 points per game. Did it look like we were scoring 32.5? No, the hell it didn't. Because in the first game, we scored 13 points. We exploded in the second game. That skews averages. And if people would stop just parroting numbers that they hear, look at the damn product, bro. This is why we talk about the eye test so much here. Look at the product. What are your eyes telling you? I synced it. Look at it. Look at this mother F. Look at it. What is it? But Johnny Moe has been showing up at 4 a.m. just scheming up plays. Didn't we hear that same thing about Matty P? Okay. I think I get this stream. I hate Johnny Morton. That's it. That's all. It's clear. Sure. If that's what you're taking, I understand how you're taking that from this. You know what I'm saying? Howie Roseman realized that his team had a deficiency and went out and got what he needed to address it. Let's see Melvin do that. That's all we're asking for. To be honest, AG was always shorthanded on defense, but man, he drove me crazy when he played running QBs. Right. Hey, at least Gibbs and his GF had cool costumes this year. Facts. It was not just the offense that played bad, but it has been the offense that is consistently vanilla. Okay. All right. I got it out. Trade deadline is coming. Okay. Now, did the special teams play well? No, they played like trash. Okay, we had a blocked field goal. We gave up a long ass return right after scoring, just marching down. See, this is the thing that the special teams allowed. The special teams allowed for a team that was inferior to go in there, get punched in their mouths, give up a touchdown on the first down in bully fashion. Like, yeah, this is what we put it on the table. This is all night, bruh. Y'all ready? And then special teams gives up a 50-yard return and puts them on the 30-yard line. Okay. And then we get a field goal block. I'm not gonna say, oh, it was the field goal was blocked and that 3 points was the difference in the game. Who knows what happens if you make that field goal? Do you get a situation where they don't score on the next drive and then you go down and you get it back and you score and then that's the ball game? Does it all play out the same exact way? I don't know that. But I know a field goal block ain't good. I know when you miss a field goal, it ain't good. I know when you don't get the points that you set out to get, it ain't good. And the operation wasn't good. And that's why we got that field goal blocked. And we could have gave up another huge return. But the same guy committed a penalty. I need to go back to the roster and see if he got cut. He committed a special teams penalty on back-to-back special teams plays that gave the Lions an advantage both times. Special teams wasn't good. Defense wasn't particularly good either. I touched on that early. I said when Aaron Jones left the game, he was averaging 8.7 yards per carry. 8.7? 8.7. Do we not pride ourselves on stopping the run? 8.7. But also, JJ McCarthy didn't do a damn thing. Not really. He made a couple plays. Statistically, he didn't do anything. The defense did sack him 5 times, whatever. The defense wasn't the problem. And here's what I'm getting at. The defense wasn't the problem. The special teams wasn't the problem. The biggest problem was offense and penalties. That was the biggest problem. Those were the two biggest problems that led to us losing the game. Did the defense play well enough to win? Yes. Did the special teams play well enough just not to really affect the game either way? I would say so. And I'm not even going to say, did the special teams not play so poorly that they lost us the game? I would say yes. I'm putting 90% on the offense. I'll give 90% on the offense, 2% to the defense, and 8% to special teams. That offense lost us the game. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Dumbass penalties, dumbass play calling, incomplete passes, not efficient, kept no running game, couldn't get anything going, no adjustments made. Brother, if you make one adjustment and you ride that out, we win that game by 10. One. Just one. And that one was to spread out your offense so you could put the defense in a bad situation. The defense in that situation is forced to either leave a bunch of people wide open because you got 5 out in the pattern, or play coverage and stop blitzing so much. You see how that works? It's a very simple fix, Johnny Mo. You can use that. Somebody get this clip to Johnny Mo. You can use that, bro. Spread out your goddamn your offense and run quicker routes so your quarterback has somewhere to go to. It's called a hot route. Guy, do you not know what a hot route is? You got a defense that's blitzing everything and remember the Titans. You don't know what a hot route is. You're telling me that you are getting paid as an offensive coordinator in the NFL and you don't have any hot routes or hot reads baked into your goddamn offensive scheme? Come on, bro. And y'all can't see while I'm crashing out? Lord have mercy. I don't even know. So that's a good question. I looked before this game, okay? Before it all came crumbling down with the offense, I told you that I didn't see any more losses, or there was nobody that I'm afraid of. I'm still not afraid of anybody. What I'm afraid of is the inconsistency of this offense. And we don't know if it's going to be Jekyll or Hyde. And we don't know who we're going to be playing. So I really don't know, because right now the situation is in flux. It's a very tenuous situation. I don't know. I can't give you an opinion. I don't know who they're trading for. I don't know if they're getting offensive line help in here. I don't know what we're doing. So I don't know. I don't know if the energy is going to be off. I don't know. Because all I do know is Johnny Mo talks a whole hell of a lot and don't do too much of what he says. That's all I do know. The only thing he does do is forces the ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 13 targets. Talk about disliking someone. I don't care for JJ, little boy chirping his mouth the whole game like he is somebody. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, he was in the locker room all like, ugh. See, but y'all, they allowed that. They allowed it to happen, and you can't really say anything about it because you allowed it. You shot yourself in the foot to the point where you lost the game. And most athletes ain't gonna be like, yeah, they punked us, but they're the reason that we won that game. No, they're gonna act like they did something significant to change the complexion of the game and win it for their team, which honestly they did not. It's the same thing with the Commanders last season. They did not. We beat ourselves. Do you think Hutch liked JJ when he was in Michigan? Hutch seemed a little extra chippy towards him. I mean, he just wanted to let him know it wasn't going to be sweet. He wasn't taking it easy on him. We're not friends between these lines. The Lions proved that the Vikings couldn't cover Laporta on the first drive. We then get away from that. And at the end of the game, we proved that the Vikings couldn't cover Laporta again. You can't make it up, Tactical. You can't make it up. You just cannot. Yeah, we can't. They can't cover Laporta, but let's make this an Amon-Ra St. Brown game. How did Amon-Ra after week? So I don't want any of this to get twisted. I don't want anybody thinking I'm saying anything about Amon-Ra. I love Amon-Ra. Okay, when you talk about riding the hot hand, Johnny Mo doesn't know how to do any of that, bro. It's like he's freaking. I don't want to say the word. Okay, but in terms of offensive schemes, play calling, and everything that goes into it, he's developmentally disabled. I'm sorry. Okay. Now, if you don't know what developmentally disabled is, there is a derogatory term and it starts with an R, and I won't use it, but you can fill it in yourself. Okay. It's just like the basic concepts of offense, bro. You don't get it. Basic stuff. Riding the hot hand, making adjustments, watching film so that you know who you're. And I said this all game. I said Johnny Mo is not equipped to match wits with Brian Flores. The difference between Osama and Johnny is Osama is so much more intelligent. Also, I said this many times. Osama bin Johnson had a bone to pick with Brian Flores because when Brian Flores got to Miami with his new staff and Osama bin Johnson was there, he did not retain him. He fired him. So it was his life's mission. Every time he sees Brian Flores, he is going to beat the brakes off that man. Now, he wasn't able to do it in week 1 against the Vikings, but you know what? He probably will next time they play each other. Because I don't know. I don't know, bro. It just doesn't make sense. After the Detroit Lions whipped the ish out of with the shower Washington, you guys will be on the back. No, we will not. First of all, WTF. Second of all, Washington, again, I will say this again. Nobody cares. Washington is a team that is going in the tank. They've waved the white flag because their quarterback is gone for the season. So much so that they are willing, before tomorrow's trade deadline, to trade starting offensive linemen. Did we not say, have I not been saying that trading for offensive linemen is very, very difficult because nobody wants to give them up? Now we're in a position where Washington has come out and told you they will be giving up offensive linemen because they're not going to win this season because their season is over. No one cares about beating the Commanders. No one cares. If you look at a win versus the Commanders, who don't even have their starting quarterback and who entered fire sale mode, if you look at that and you're like, oh, we're back, you don't know football. Man, this is even you. What are you talking about? There is that. Look, man. Do you can you look? I just don't. I don't get it. I don't know what analogies to give people. The Lions have never won a Super Bowl, bro. The Lions have never been to a Super Bowl. The Lions have been for a very long time an organization where every fan in the world wanted everybody fired. They wanted the team to be sold. They wanted all this other stuff. Now that we have a competent regime that still hasn't taken us to a Super Bowl, we got close, but still hasn't taken us to one. Now, when you question things and when you crash out about something that's obviously a problem, people say that you're off the bandwagon and you hate the team and all this other. I don't understand it. Like it's all or nothing. It's all or nothing. You gotta love everything that they do and you gotta lick everybody's balls or you hate the team. I don't understand that. I don't understand that way of thinking. I'm crashing out because I'm angry about what the freaking guy is doing to our offense. Because I love my team. And I don't want to see this bullcrap product on the field because I love my team. If I told you, yep, see, that's why I'm a such and such fan now. No, I didn't know. Nobody said any of that. Where are you getting that? Like, where do you get that from? Meanwhile, Johnny Mo makes game plans like running the ball towards Vita 100 times. Facts. Okay, yeah, that was the first part of your statement. There is nobody off the bandwagon, Frank. The offense is bad because we have a bad offensive coordinator. No one is saying this team sucks. I'm talking about the offensive coordinator and his inability to make adjustments and formulate proper game plans. That's it. Nobody said fire Dan Campbell. Nobody said anything. Nobody said trade this person because our team sucks. Get rid of all the weapons that we got. Nobody said any of that. No one even ever suggested doing any of these things. The crash out is about Johnny Morton and his ineptitude as an offensive coordinator. All season long, I've been looking at the Miami Dolphins, waiting for them to fire Mike McDaniels so we could fire Johnny Mo and pick that dude up. It has nothing to do with dislike for the Detroit Lions. I love the Detroit Lions. I am sitting in a freaking Detroit Lions hat with a Detroit Lions hoodie with freaking Lions back and behind me. And I'm talking about someone who is not helping my team win a Super Bowl. And I'm angry about that person being employed by my team. I don't understand how else I can say it to you, but I won't try to say it anyway. Shout out Bubba Starks, Bubba Sparks. How else can I say it? I don't speak no other languages. I mean, I do, but I'm just saying. How else can I say it to you? I got the OC blues fast. All right. Trade deadline. Like we said, Christian Mahogany is going to be out for a while. We know Taylor Decker and Panay Sewell will most likely play next week, but they will not be practicing. We do not know what is going on with Kirby Joseph. Um, Brad Holmes needs to make some changes. He not changes. He needs to make some improvements. He needs to get somebody in here. Um, there's like this growing sentiment where people don't expect him to do anything, and I really can't understand how he does it. Like I get it, I got it, but the fact that it's public knowledge that he called on Trey Hendrickson, um, it's public knowledge that they've been in the mix for some other guys. So if you don't pull the trigger, you haven't learned from last year. Last year in the offseason, Brad Holmes talked about attrition, and okay, cool. So now now that we have the difficulties with our offensive line, we've got Christian Mahogany out, we've got banged up tackles. If you don't go get one of the available offensive linemen, because there are teams who have entered fire sale mode, you could bring back Kevin Zeitler for all I care. I don't care if he's 35. He's better than what you got. But there's less than 24 hours remaining. It needs to happen. And from this moment forward, please, Brad Holmes, unless you are going to get an absolute stud that can help you this season, because Isaac Tesla may turn into Puka Nacua, but he ain't going to do it this season. It may take 2-3 years for it to happen. And by that time, you could have got 2-3 other difference makers with the third round picks that you gave up. So I don't want to see, going forward, trades involving third round picks that don't bring us back someone is going to help us immediately. Because had you gotten another offensive lineman and another defensive lineman with those picks, maybe we're having a different conversation. And again, I'm still hearing about Marcus Davenport. I don't know why I'm hearing about Marcus Davenport. I'm still hearing about Ahmed Hassanin. I don't know why I'm hearing about Ahmed Hassanin. We don't know who Ahmed Hassanin is in the actual NFL. We saw him during the preseason. We don't know who he is yet. I'm not expecting Ahmed to come in here and do anything. He's missed a ton of development time. Let him develop. I'd love to be wrong, but as you guys are kind of seeing, I kind of know what I'm talking about when it comes to this football thing. This is just me. I see it. I'm the boss here. Anyway, you know what we do on this show, boy. Mailbag, mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they reading you? Mailbag, snick, 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 snick. Mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Bask in it. We lost to Trenches Sunday. Facts. Well, no, it'll be the show tomorrow because my show comes on after the trade deadline. So if he doesn't do anything, I'll be talking about it tomorrow, Tuesday. I'm convinced that people who chirp about fans being bandwagon are in fact a bandwagoner. D-line will work. O-line needs help. Facts. What up, okay? What fantasy land am I living in? I don't know what you're talking about, man. I really don't. Davenport is a non-factor. He's played 4 games in 2 years. He can stay wherever he's at. Facts. Sure, I sure was. I was. I did. I cussed out my offensive line. I told them if they weren't going to block and get the hell out of my way. I did that. Mm-hmm. How underrated do you think Macy Gray is? Well, I don't know. I try to say goodbye and I choke. I try to walk away and I stumble. Though I get excited, it's clear. Is this Johnny Mo's boyfriend? Hey, man, look. uh, now tell me how the F we're going to beat Washington. Very easily. What are you talking about? Very easily. Oh man, I love Kay because Kay is clearly a troll. She's clearly a troll, bro. My man said you didn't know football. I don't think you know. Okay, bro, bro, what have I been wrong about? Was I wrong about this offense? Was I wrong? I just want to know. Just tell me if I was wrong about what I've been talking about. Oh my goodness. Right. Just go play. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we saying, you know, we just saying. We just saying. Oh, I hope they do watch it and show it to Johnny Moore, and then he comes to try to prove me wrong. I would love that. Listen, and they can talk it because they beat us for the first time in 6 attempts. They hadn't beat us in 3 years. And congratulations. Eh, They won. So they can talk. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't be in other fan bases, DMs, and all on their Twitter feeds. I don't be talking. You know, people come for me. I don't send for them like Frank the Tank. It'll be all right, Don. Just hates your father. This ain't no joke. This offense has no mojo. Facts. I ain't no joke. I used to make the mics broke, slam it on the ground and make sure it's broke. Um, when it comes to Detroit teams, it's always next year. Um, I'm not giving up on the season. There are things that need to be fixed. Jared Goff said it correctly. He said there were some things that we fixed, but we've got a ton more to fix, and we need to fix it right away. We ain't got no time. He said it's a long season, but we need to fix it now. So, I hope, Jared Goff comes and puts his nuts on the table, pause, and says, look, Johnny, this bullshit you're doing right now, it ain't going to work. We need to do something better. A Ferrari of an offense into a Pinto. Very well said. That is very accurate. But I don't understand offense because I'm a selfish player. Exactly. Hire me. I can beat a blitz. Watch. You know what I mean? Watch me beat a blitz. Mailbag, yes. Doesn't Goff have some say in offensive play calls or no? He has complete autonomy to audible. Um, but here's the thing: you can't audible into a jumbo set in order to run the ball, right? Because you got to bring on an extra offensive lineman and take someone else off. So you can't audible into formations when you don't have the personnel on the field. A lot of this stuff is, again, we ran a lot of jumbo last season. We're not really doing that this year. So, you know, there are things that he can change, but you got to deal with the personnel that you got on the field. I think we all could, Robert Stevens. I think we all could, unless you, I don't know, Johnny Moe's cousin or uncle or something. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stab out. Why every time the Lions lose a game, the whole damn world gets happy? Because it's Detroit versus everybody. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all coming through. Obviously, we're tomorrow. Trade deadline will have passed. We'll talk about it. If Brad did anything, if Brad didn't do anything, what other people did, what other contenders in the NFC did. Did anybody in the NFC North make their team any better? Shout out to the Packers. I just want to know if they can still go undefeated. That's my question. Peace out. All right. The Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And hey, man, don't be like me. Don't be a selfish player. Peace.